and welcome to Weave the Tale. We are super excited to be here today playing Flabbergasted. This is a new game that is coming to Kickstarter on the 28th of September, so just a couple days away. And we are just super excited to be playing this. You'll have to excuse my little one here. And that the tweet said Resonant Moon. We had a last minute scene change, you should say. But other than that, we are just excited to have Wandering Tome here with us today in chat, talking about their game. Again, super excited for this and everything that's going to be. There's going to be, I don't know what there's going to be with this group. You never know. So kind of, oh, sorry. I just want to, wow, sorry guys, my brain just broke. But yes, I just want to thank everyone for attending this week's episode of Flabbergasted. I will be your director today. My name is ScribblingPenny. I also go by Scribbles or Sam or Weave the Tale in chat. But first, I would like to introduce you to our star-studded cast, starting up top with Paul. We'll then go around.
Hey everybody. Hi everybody, I'm Paul. I'm the last minute replacement. I'm coming to you from the future in the Denver airport. So excuse me if I have to mute on a regular basis. But it's great to be here. You can usually find me on Weave the Tale. As of yesterday, less than 12 hours ago, I was here playing Dune, which you can check on now on Tuesdays. You can also find me at PaulMartian6 on Twitter if you want me to come to your game. And I would love to speak to the creator at some point in time as well. I have ideas and stuff and things. But I'll pass the mic.
Perfect. And the mic is going to go right on over to our lovely Steve.
Hello, I'm Steve. I will be playing the, I'd say gender neutral, gender ambiguous jazz singer Carey Lindh. Super excited to be here. This is actually the first time I've ever been dressed up or something like this, so I think it's going to be a fun day.
If I'm not muted, I think it is going to be a very fun day. An excellent way to start the day as well. It's very early over here in my time zone. But enough that, we're going to turn the time over to Tony.
Hey, my name is Tony Vicinda. I am Chief Alchemist over at Plusoneexp. We do one-shots of a lot of indie games. We actually played Flabbergast a couple of weeks ago over on our stream on Twitch. You can find us at Plusoneexp across most social media platforms, and we do game design. We review other people's games and create content for them. We also make beard and skincare products that are inspired by classic tabletop RPG content also too. You can find most of that stuff at Plusoneexp.
Perfect. And we will also have a link for them in chat. We've ran a game of Down We Go by you guys recently. You'll have to check that out on YouTube. But today we are playing Flabbergasted. It is the height of the jazz age currently. We have a social revolution afoot. Furthermore, this is the age of prohibition and bootleggers and gangsters. Fashion, music, technology, morals are all changing at a lightning pace. But things are a little bit calmer. We find ourselves in the town of Pecadillo. Just kind of zooming in on this small little garage that Riggs has somehow outfitted into a club. There's still those oil stains on the ground, and that motor oil. The windows are fogged over by this sort of grease that is just always omnipresent there. And it's not exactly the best part of town. We're sort of on the border between crime and fine type area. But again, property was cheap. We had an investor from the lovely Preston Cobblepot who helped them purchase this location, but again, only money can only get you so much when it's a risky investment. But as the doors sort of open, we find ourselves beer bottles strewn across the ground, confetti, just all sorts of different party going accoutrement just everywhere. And Riggs, you are sporting the worst headache of your life. But that still doesn't really douse the excitement that you kind of have inside. You guys have been working on an invention, mostly you, but this club kind of comes together to throw ideas out, to work. It's a work easy. And you finally have finished what you want to present at the World's Fair. Why don't you describe your character for us?
Yeah, so Riggs is basically looks like if Ryan Gosling tried to play Nikola Tesla. So we've got heavy mutton chops that come up into a thinner mustache, blonde hair, medium height and build, kind of piercing blue eyes. That are definitely clouded right now as the sunlight kind of streams through this kind of greased over glass. And hits this invention in the middle of the room that I don't have any idea what is. And I'm just kind of looks like probably normally fairly well put together, but at this point massively disheveled as I kind of heave myself off of a pile of equipment that I collapsed over last night at some point in time.
Perfect. And not too far from you, you're sort of blinking that sleep from your eyes. An individual that doesn't normally sleep here, but again, you guys completely trashed last night, tossed about. You, as you kind of think, you can't really remember much about last night. Carey was singing, and the drinks were flowing freely, but yeah, not much comes to mind. It's just sort of blacked out. But on a pile of equipment, their tie missing, usually very clean cut, is Preston. Preston, can you go ahead and introduce your character?
So Preston is a man of around 5'10", well-built, refined, clearly masked himself to keep himself away from the plebeians, and is rustled from the bottles of alcohol around him and starts calling for Sinclair to find him a mojito to wake up in the morning, because you can't drink unless you start in the morning, and is trying to get with the hair of the dog that bit him and figure out what they did. He just remembers lots and lots of champagne bottles. He remembers ordering that Nebuchadnezzar and never looking back.
It's true. The best way to deal with a hangover, right, is just to never not be drunk, right? So that works out. That checks out. But the bartender of this club, Sinclair, who's just always behind the counter, this kind of roughly hewn, there's sort of like those rims, of cars, old-fashioned cars, just kind of stacked precariously one on top of another, and then this just thing of sheet metal thrown over the top of them that serves as the bar counter. It is definitely, Riggs always seems to have to warn people not to rub their hands on the edge. There's been a lot of accidents with that, getting their hands a little bit cut at times. But it's also kind of a sign that you've been to the Work Easy, the club, almost as a badge of honor and something people laugh about, when someone's hand gets cut on this metal. But he begins to pour concoction, but leaves it right on the counter for you, Preston. He does not walk it over to you, just leaves it there.
Preston will stumble over and start nursing the drink, because this is how you wake up.
Right. And as you stumble over, kind of looking over at the floor of the bar behind this counter, Carey is just, you know, this kind of heap of clothes and scarves and various, you know, half the clothes aren't even theirs. You don't know whose they are. But the heap that is Carey, you see Sinclair just kind of stepping over them and just kind of going about what he normally does. But Carey, why don't you go ahead and describe your character as they wake up?
All right. So Carey, as I mentioned, is kind of gender ambiguous. They're kind of skinny, very pretty. Got some blonde curls poking out from under their nice cap. Somehow they've managed to fit a fainting couch behind the bar. No idea how that happened. But like they kind of start shifting, the clothes start, you know, moving off, and eventually they're revealed just kind of be like draped over some improbably placed piece of furniture, a martini glass still daintily gripped between their fingers. Heavens to Betsy. Why did I go for the Long Island iced tea? Oh, why did I go for the Long Island iced tea?
Why indeed? You know, this drink was kind of invented last night. Just a name that you came up with, Carey, the Long Island iced tea. Just it seemed to fit. It seemed to be good. You know, your aspirations of someday maybe performing on Broadway kind of brought it together. But yeah, the three of you are here. Preston nursing a drink, Carey doing what Carey does. And Riggs,
Like flipping through my notebook, like looking at all the different sketches I have and trying to figure out what the hell this thing is, because I have no idea based on like Riggs has, like, if you look at, like, as we kind of zoom out, Riggs is also like pulling through like stacks of paper, spends a lot of time sketching out ideas. Like there's an anti-gravity pogo stick that runs on like moon juice and a bunch of other things that they've sketched out exactly how they could work if we could just figure out the technology. But none of them seem to really match this thing that's in the middle of this room. So I'm just kind of tearing through, squinting at it, squinting down, like trying to get Sinclair to make me coffee between moving through stacks.
how close are you to the invention?
Oh, I probably crisscross over it to get from like workbench to workbench. Like I move within feet of it numerous times.
Yeah, you don't notice it the first time you walk by. You know, you still have that fuzz in you, and it takes a couple drinks of hot coffee, black, before you realize something. That's not your invention right there, or at least not what was there last night. You think?
Kind
Doesn't
of like
match any of the drawings in your notebook.
yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. I mean, I can't imagine how this got in here, but it's certainly. I mean, you know, we obviously made this if it's here, but it. I mean, this isn't what we were working on. I don't think. And I just like flip through a couple more pages looking for notes, and they get like as we zoom in and like over my shoulder at the pages, they get more and more nonsensical, and the handwriting gets looser and looser as we go down in the stack.
Yeah, you guys could kind of see that Riggs seems to be growing more frantic and flipping through pages quicker than normal. Something seems a little bit off about him.
What did you find, Riggs?
I mean, something wonderful, something amazing, something that will certainly return in all of your investment tenfold.
Excellent.
Yes, I mean it's absolutely amazing.
Yes.
I can't tell you how excited I am by exactly what we've made here. It seems tremendous. I think it'll change the world.
Excellent. Preston will stumble up and find something that spins and like flick it with his finger as he nurses the drink. It's clearly not dangerous, right? Flick. Flick.
I mean, obviously not. We wouldn't present it at the World Fair if it was dangerous. And I quickly look around to make sure I don't think it's going to cut him or hurt him or explode because he's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from your area of expertise, you have no idea. It could explode, maybe. But again, who knows?
That's one less investor I'd owe money to.
That is very true.
Take a couple steps back.
And Carey is slowly clambering up from behind the bar, mimosa already in hand. Just thank you, Sinclair, darling. Kind of looks at the new invention. Riggs, dear, was that always there?
I mean, no, we obviously built it last night. Don't be ridiculous. Don't you remember?
My memory seems to be just a little bit spotty. Everything went, everything kind of goes black after that second rendition of Minnie the Moocher.
I mean, it is a little cattywampus last night, but I mean, obviously it was a success.
Well, I would certainly hope so, but what exactly is it?
Yes, it is amazing.
Riggs, darling, that's not the question I asked.
I mean, it is one of the things that it is. It is absolutely amazing. I mean, I can't wait to showcase it. I'll start working on my presentation.
Preston, are you still messing with the machine?
Oh yeah, he's totally drinking and finding a thing to flip or something to open up and look in. He's being what? No, I don't remember everything. Drink. What we do here. He's just looking in. Seems to have no sense of danger about it.
No, exactly. No sense of danger. You know, you flip through some random wheel that has been placed. No apparent reason at one location. It just spins. Flip a switch. Nothing happens. You know, turn a couple dials. And as you reach one more dial, you turn it all the way, you know, click, 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 click. And then
this one goes to 11.
Yeah. Weird that it goes to 11. Always interesting. But you turn it to that 11, and the entire thing just falls apart. Crash and clatter. Every piece looked like it's just pretty much haphazardly glued there together. And that glue had not dried yet, apparently. The entire thing just crumbles to the ground at Riggs's feet.
What have I told you about putting it on the 11 setting? I don't even know why I keep on putting 11 settings on there.
You always told me the 11 setting was the best setting, and that's why you put it on there.
It is the best setting. I mean, no one's arguing if it's the best setting. I asked why you put it on 11 to start with. You have to warm it up first and then take it up
Because
to
it's
11.
the best setting, henceforth it should be on 11.
Right,
You've
I
said
know,
this
but
several
you take
times.
it to 10, right? You take it to
Uh,
10, and then when
But
you
I
need to
took it to
take it
10.
to 11, when you need to take it to 11, that's when you take it to 11.
Oh,
Just a little
okay.
bit more.
But you said I should always do the best, and the best was 11, and you said 11 was the best.
Right, but there's a best way to get to 11, and it's slowly as you warm. I can't explain all the signs to you again.
Can you write that down? I'm very not sober.
Yes, I will, and send him a note that is poorly scrawled. Wait for 11.
Excellent. Fold it up, put it in my pocket.
Carey will like just then come out from around the from the bar, seemingly just having gotten their legs. Then they see everything fall apart, then dramatically draped over the bar. Oh heavens! Oh, you spent so much time fixing that. Whatever in heaven's name that is.
Yes, and now I don't have time to work on my presentation because I have to build it again, I guess.
If
Yeah,
only
you
we
have all the
had some
plans.
sort of, if only we had some sort of a tool or invention, a thick, strong silver tape, perhaps one that is good at sealing leaks and ducts.
Some sort of ductile tape, you say?
Yeah, something along those lines, dear.
You could call it pipe bandage. It'll sell like hotcakes.
Yes, maybe something
We
that
may need
provides
to,
some sort of
we may need to
flexible
workshop the
sealing.
name just a little bit, but I think we're on to something there.
Investor, not necessarily a marketer. But yeah, definitely workshop that name just a little bit more. I think you're onto something close. But Preston, as you're sort of looking at this fallen invention, the remains of this amazing thing that was going to change the world, as Riggs put it, you notice something that doesn't quite belong there. Or at least it seems off. Why would a tube of lipstick be inside of a machine? But you don't know that whole science engineering thing. So maybe lipstick does belong in machines.
He'll reach down and pick up the lipstick. Is it a familiar lipstick or an unfamiliar lipstick?
Well, I mean, it's not your lipstick and it's not Carey's lipstick. That's for sure. But as you kind of look at it, you notice as you turn it in your hands that cool metal casing, the initials TR engraved in it.
Who's dating someone with the initials TR right now? He'll stumble over and put the lipstick on the bar and sip more of his drink.
You're going to have to be far more specific there, darling. There's many faces.
TR and wears this particular cherry red lipstick.
Oh, that is a darling shade, too. You'd think I remember something quite like that.
Do you have a middle initial?
No, there's just TR on here. I have not dated anyone with the initials TR in like 30 years, so I'm good.
TR. Nope.
Templeton Rat?
Templeton Rat. I used to run with him back in the day.
Preston will spin the lipstick container around and get to the bottom and be like, oh no, it's just the Rouge's brand, and throws it over his shoulder back into the pile of stuff.
Ah,
One of Cassandra's cosmetics.
You don't suppose that would have... You don't suppose it would have caused whatever that thing was to fall so dramatically apart, do you?
I mean, it wouldn't be unlike Cassandra to sabotage a great invention. And she does know of Riggs's love of 11s.
it's true.
Oh dear me, oh dear.
Sorry.
Whatever shall we do? Shall we attempt to rebuild or replan or melt this whole thing down in scrap metal?
You do know that the World Fair is in about probably 2 days. I don't know if that's enough time to really invent something new. And Sinclair will kind of pipe up from behind the counter. Probably best not to get the police involved in this either.
Yes,
Why did we not
certainly.
bribe them recently?
Well, I mean, we certainly have kept up on our bribes, but I mean, the question is who else has kept up on theirs, and you know, who's bribing more? And I don't know that that's a fight we want to get into right now.
Right,
Maybe.
and if you know you get one good
And of
cop
course-
and he comes poking around here, he just kind of like motions towards like the wall of like liquor and alcohol behind him. Not sure we can hide all this.
for every one naughty and more agreeable policeman, there are quite a few more that are, of course, you know, siding with the righteous prohibitionists.
That's fair. So, Riggs, where do you start again with your marvelous invention that will change the world?
Oh,
Now that we figured
I
out
mean,
the
we
problem with the Rouge sabotaging it, you should probably start rebuilding immediately.
Yes,
You did promise me 7-fold on my investment.
Yes, it was just 7. That's correct. Certainly not 10. I didn't say 10-fold. I said 7-fold. Yes, and that will absolutely happen. Yes, I should do that. I should absolutely get. You know what? I think best in the open air though, and since the glue. We have to wait for the glue to dry before I can re-glue it and get it wet again so that it can dry properly this time. So, I think a walk to consider how we prevent the Rouge from getting back in here next time is probably the route that we should take. Just to get the blood pumping, the vitals going, and certainly not to check in on any other debts that I have to the Rouge or anyone else.
Yes, we really
certainly
would
not.
want a repeat.
Go ahead.
Then clear your head. I'm going to nurse this drink until it's done.
Yeah, so Riggs is going to head out. Is anyone else going with him?
Carey will, I think. Kind of rub his shoulders as he thinks.
Thank you, Carey. This is exactly what I needed.
You
Some
work so hard,
time on the
darling.
bridge near the city.
Perfect. So
Yes,
you
well,
walk out into this humid, kind of sweltering morning. It's already hot. and paper, other garbage just kind of strewn across the side of the street. Relatively empty. There's a couple people here and there walking about as you're in this sort of not the best neighborhood, but you're walking towards that bridge that you always seem to just get a couple more ideas than usual at, someplace that really kind of helps with your creative process. There's something about watching that dirty water just under the bridge flow, occasionally seeing something floating just beneath the surface, probably just more
there's
garbage.
bits of trash really getting my brain juice going.
Right. There's just something beautiful about it, that strange, that putrid smell that just really gets your blood flowing.
Certainly at no point in the future will we regret the amount of things we've dumped into this river.
Certainly will not cause some kind of massive conflagration.
Absolutely not. I mean, the Earth's bounty is endless. That's the beautiful thing about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think like in the distance, in addition to that, like where did the Rouge have their headquarters? Is it a club, like a clubby club?
Yeah, it's a club just actually on the other side of this bridge. You guys kind of have your boundaries, so to say, your turf. And so one side of the bridge is yours, the other side of the bridge is theirs. And this is kind of a neutral ground, so to say. But if you walk a couple more feet, you'll definitely be in the Rouge's territory.
Maybe we should just pop in at the old Rouge, see what they're up to, see if see how they're doing. Maybe it wasn't them. Maybe somebody sabotaged their project also, if they have one going. Who knows?
That certainly is a mystery. Although I do guarantee if they are gloating over our misfortune, there shall be hell to pay, I can tell you that.
Oh, they shall certainly have their comeuppance. As we kind of look over towards their side, is there a hustle or a bustle happening over there? Is it calm? What is it like?
I mean, it's early. It's definitely, and by early, I mean like 10, 11 o'clock, but early for you guys. There is movement where like the club entrance to be, but nothing that's startling or that seems off quite. Because that the Rouge, their club is actually a rather large warehouse that kind of sits right on the pier of this river. Huge, definitely something easy to see, and definitely something that functions more in the evening, in the later hours of the day. They weren't threatened when you guys decided to form your club so nearby. They kind of laughed and didn't think you guys would last that long, and your purposes are just so different that they didn't even consider small fry like you rivals. But yeah, you could definitely see
exactly what I want them thinking. Shall we gain the element of surprise?
I mean, we certainly had it. With such an element of surprise, we didn't even know what exactly we built.
Yes, the best way to keep them on their toes. Don't let your left or your right know what you're doing exactly. Exactly. If no one knows, no one can stop us.
Right. You
Gotta
guys
make
do
our
know...
way.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
Oh, that Preston, when he had that tube of lipstick, he recognized the engraving and mentioned somebody by name that seemed to be part of that club. So they might have possibly an in or something to know if you wanted to bring them along as well.
Yes, why don't we see about dumping some nice cold water on dear Preston?
Yes, I think that sounds like I know a few people at the Rouge, but if we didn't have to talk to them, that would be ideal. There's some hard feelings there about they wanted me to come to work for them, and instead I struck out on my own. So probably best to work Preston's connections.
Yeah, so you guys head back to the work easy real quick. Again, just very quiet on your side of the bridge, very just sort of street cleaners going about, the occasional person walking their cat and their peacock, as it is in the city. Very, doesn't even give you pause. Sorry. And you guys walk back into the club. What is Preston currently doing?
Preston seems to be a bit better off. He's working on his second drink of the morning. Seems to have pepped up and less hungover and groggy. He has straightened up his tie. He seems to be talking to the bartender as he's tidying up. And he's very much wondering, well, something had changed. What could it be? He's like pondering over what the invention could be. Especially what some of the dials and flippy things did. He's definitely in the questioning what it does place. Back already from your walk. How'd it go?
It's just 1 second, and I finished writing down self-cleaning streets, and then I did you mention someone at the Rouge?
Cassandra.
Yes, Cassandra. How do you know Cassandra?
We used to date.
And you
Well,
things
we
left
may
on
have some
good
cause
terms?
I couldn't hear you over Riggs. I could not hear you over Carey's melodic tones. What was that?
Oh, I said, did you leave things on good terms?
Oh no, I hate her and I wish her dead.
Yes, well,
Yes,
unfortunately,
yes,
we
yes.
may have cause to talk with her again. Perhaps assemble what may have occurred, not prior.
More than likely, she came back sniveling and wanting to get back with me. Let's go find out what happened. Preston will swing by his car, throw on some cologne, and head over to the Rouge with these two in tow.
Yeah, just walking. You guys just going up to the front door?
He's going up to the front door. Oh, he'll retrieve the lipstick first. And then walk up to the front door.
Flanking either side of the door are these two rather large gentlemen in ill-fitting suits, pinstripe suits, arms folded with that just kind of flat, cold gaze, looking at the three of you as you approach. They don't say anything, they don't reach for anything, but they just kind of look at the three of you.
And I look up and I say, Templeton Rat, is that you? I want to use VIP, my scene cue. You're well known around town and you tend to get recognized, run into old friends often. Wherever you are, you can usually find a familiar face or someone eager to schmooze with you. Exclusive places will also extend invitations to you. I haven't seen you since the old neighborhood. What are you up to?
And you see this on the left-hand side, this steely man just crack the smallest of grins as he looks at you. Archibald Henrick.
Oh, you know you can
What?
call me Riggs. Look at you. You look amazing.
Yeah, things have changed around here since the old neighborhood, you'd have to say. But sorry. You hear some very strange sounds coming from inside the building. can't quite place what they are. Definitely part elephant, part. It's just very strange sounds.
Have y'all done the menagerie trick in there? Oh, I love that one.
Riggs, man, what are you doing here?
Well, I'll tell you what. My friend here used to run with a certain member of the Rouge, and I swear he's just head over heels in love with her and just wants to get back in her good graces. So we were wondering if we just might pop in and see. I know it's early in the morning, but we think she might be here. He just wants to make his case. If it wouldn't be too much for an old friend from the old town, I'd deeply appreciate it. And I'll like. It's 1920, so I don't know what monies is good, but I slip him a small friendly bribe also too.
He takes the bribe, puts it in his pocket. That should cover that one lunch, that one time that you kind of walked out on. Remember that, Riggs?
Oh, I mean, there were so many lunches that we all walked out on. Come on. But sure, absolutely.
Yeah, he pats his pocket and looks at Carey. Do you know who you were dating?
Oh, I
Or
believe
who
this
you
for
wanted to
Preston.
speak?
Yeah. Oh no, this friend over here, and I point at Preston.
He narrows his eyes slightly, turning from Carey to Preston. You look familiar. Who did you want to see on the inside? I believe we have lost. Oh, there we go.
I've returned. Sorry.
Oh. Yeah, so this gentleman, and I've already forgot, something Rat. Kinda looks
Templeton
like-
Rat.
Templeton Rat. And you guys always kind of call him Rat, but he hated that so much. With his sort of like smushed face, his beady little eyes. Definitely fit the nickname, but you knew not to call him that. Anyways, Templeton looks over at you, Preston, eyes narrowed even more than usual. You look so familiar. Have you come to this club before?
Once or twice or 3 times a lady. You know how it goes. I get around. But it would be in everyone's best interest to just handle the situation as best see fit. I'm going to go ahead and use perfect manners to smooth over him not remembering that Cassandra might want to have me beaten if I showed back up. So I will go ahead and use that maneuver upon my sheet. Do I need to roll for that is the question.
No, not if you're using a scene cue.
Yeah.
Then no. Why don't you describe this though?
So he will, Preston will basically become very charming, complimenting Templeton on his suit and how he's done a fine job securing the club and how he has been here a few times. As he does, he slowly like edges in and moves into his personal space and uses that to edge them into the club past them. Complimenting him and letting him know that when he sees his boss, who he will name like the exact underboss person he's supposed to work for, he'll let him know what a great job he's doing and to make sure that he gets a bonus.
Yeah, he definitely seems very flustered, slightly flabbergasted, you might say, as he just walks backwards, tugging at the bottom of his suit to straighten it out. And again, you mentioned his actual boss by name, and he just... I mean, I don't think I was supposed to let you in, but thank you. What was your name again?
Mr. Cobblepot.
My apologies, Mr. Cobblepot. Thank you for again. Yeah, I'll get back to my post. You guys, have a nice time. I mean, the club's not open yet, but I'm sure they'll
Mhm.
want to see you.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes back to his
we
place.
have it,
leaving
my
you
friend.
behind.
No worries. Also, if they aren't treating you well here, you know you can just come across the bridge and find me if they don't take care of you here.
I like getting paid though, Riggs.
Oh, I know. Don't we all? Don't we all? Yes, of course.
Yeah, and he leaves the three of you standing inside of this large interior warehouse. The walls are all draped with this deep purple satin-like material. There is a stage bigger than you've ever seen, Carey, taking up an entire side of the warehouse. I'm so sorry. Probably, multiple mics just going through and you can see like where a small band has set up to play music. You've heard of the music that is played at the Rouge, and it just lights that little flame of jealousy inside of you, that they have something like this.
Oh, what a lovely setup. Oh, what I wouldn't give to sing on a stage like that.
You obviously deserve it. Maybe we can see what can happen before we head out.
It's true.
Let's hope.
Go ahead, Carey. You
No,
have the last
you're
word. No, Preston, where are you leading everyone? Currently, this area that serves as a dance floor is empty. You see the bar, all the glittering bottles, fresh. Nobody's back there. But this isn't where the owner is. This isn't where
No.
the back door
This is not where
takes place.
Cassandra would be. He heads up to her front office area first, not her back office, and will look to Riggs and be like, "You wanted to talk. She may or may not be in there." It lets him go to knock on the door and make his pitch. He is clearly slightly disgruntled and unhappy.
Yeah, what does Riggs choose to do? Does he knock?
I'm just kind of looking around, taking in the club, looking at kind of how they've set things up, thinking about what we might want to incorporate in the future, and also just trying to figure out if I was going to, if I was going to hide anything of importance, where might I secret that away?
Sure. Why don't we do our first roll, actually? Probably give me a wit and sharp roll.
Ah, excellent, excellent. No problem. No problems there. I'm excellent at both wit and sharp with my 1 point in it. No, I did not. I have no idea.
I mean, this place is so incredibly huge. There's so many curtains and just shadows. The lights just aren't quite on. Yeah, it could be anywhere. It's not the biggest invention you ever created. Yeah. It's hard to say with how big this place is, and you've never been inside this club. So many doors.
What a cockamamie layout they have here.
Right? It's just left you a little bit discombobulated, you might say.
Indeed.
But you can spend time searching if you would like to just search the club. I mean, there doesn't seem to be anyone here on this main floor, at least, stopping you from doing so. but
You know,
Preston does seem
I
to
could
be
be a little
trained.
bit of a scalawag and look around, I guess.
Yeah. Carey, what are you doing at this moment? As you see the gears literally churning in Riggs's head.
Carey is mostly just marveling at the stage setup, imagining themselves on there or another stage, their name all set up in lights.
Yeah, almost as if like by magic, it seems like one of the spotlights on the stage just flashes to life, and the single center spot on that stage is lit up in that circle, highlighting one of those. It looks like gold microphone, just all swirls and intricate designs that don't serve any purpose besides looking cool, right? Just there in the center of that stage. But yeah, Riggs, are you starting to look around?
Yeah. I actually think as we see that light flick on, it's like we see Riggs over there like flipping switches in one of the corners. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking around behind the curtains, poking at things, pressing buttons.
What are you doing, Riggs?
No, just take it in the sights. Did you find? Was it Cassandra? Do we need to find her?
You said you wanted to talk to her. Nosing around her club is not the best idea unless you think there's something here to be gained.
I mean,
You're the inventor.
I don't know where she is. I mean, I am. I mean, I'm. This is why I'm. This is research. I'm seeing how they have their club set up, so I can invent something similar for ours.
Fair enough. She's either in her office or she's in the back office. If she's in the back office, we don't want to interrupt her till she's done with her business because she'll be very upset. She always gets upset when you interrupt her and she's in the back office.
Interesting. So avoid the back office. Yes. Do you think there's any way we could maybe get her to come out here? Maybe, maybe if somebody was to, provide a little bit of music, she might be drawn out if she was in the back office. And that way we wouldn't be interrupting.
Carey's already
Possibly.
by the microphone.
So you're going to get Carey to sing, and you're going to draw her. Sure. Preston is going to take a seat in a booth, like a shadowy booth, so he's not seen when she comes out innately, and let these two put on a show and try their best.
Well, Carey,
All right.
It seems like it's showtime.
All right, so they are going to use the scene cue, passionate display. An artistic skill that you're proficient in this case, jazz singing. You give a passionate display every time you perform. All eyes are on you, plus dignity. So they get up there, lights on them. Yeah, they just start going. Folks, I'm going down to St. James Infirmary. See my baby there. She's stretched out on a long white table. She's so sweet, so cold, so fair. Goes down the St. James Infirmary a cappella.
Brava, first off. But yeah, I mean, definitely Riggs's eyes and Preston's eyes are on you. You even notice that front door open, that light sort of filtering in as both of the guards, as it were, come in as well to listen to you singing this jazz piece a cappella, just leaning against the door frame and completely entranced. And as you sort of finish that final scat, you hear just that very slow clap as another figure begins to walk across the stage towards you. Preston, why don't you describe what Cassandra looks like?
So Cassandra is middle height, about 5'5". You know, it's a little tall for that era, in theory. Red hair, cut in that classic flapper bob cut. She kind of has that beauty that is not necessarily timeless, but is definitely frozen in time. But the eyes of someone who are probably much more experienced and harder and lived a little bit of a rougher life. She's probably in a black flapper dress with the garters and stockings set up, and I'm not sure if she looks annoyed or not. That's really on you as the ST.
It's not annoyed as much as that sort of look of amusement, but you know that look could be just as dangerous as if she were actually frustrated. But she walks across the stage, her flats just kind of padding along, slightly echoing in this empty room as she approaches Carey with that sort of half smile. Darling, that was simply wonderful. We will definitely need to have you performing here some night very soon.
Oh, thank you very much. This is a excellent setup you have here. The acoustics are absolutely on point.
That is why we chose such a location, I might say. She looks up at the ceiling. Your voice just seems to get captured in those walls so perfectly. And you know, if there's anything else that we can take from, what's the name of that club across the bridge that I believe that you normally sing at? You know.
Well, I do believe the purveyor of such a location may be able to answer that more than I can. And they kind of indicate Preston sitting in the shadows.
Her eyes go towards Preston, and there's this momentary look of, you would think it would be shock, but instead it's disdain. She now looks irritated. Mr. Cobblepot, I do
Cassandra. He'll take and put the lipstick on the table, like in front of him.
Yes, I see. You found that little invention that I left for Riggs.
So why did you join me? Let's have a civil conversation.
Yes, a civil conversation with you. After all the things you've said to me, this should be interesting.
After all the things civil conversation. Civil?
Yeah, why don't you get your lackeys to join us as well? I'll have drinks brought.
Sounds good.
I'll take care of those.
Yeah. Carey wanders over, kind of rubs Preston's shoulders. Guy's gotta be tense at this point.
Oh, yeah.
She'll look briefly at Riggs. Do you know how to pour drinks?
I'm waving off the bartender, like behind the bar. This is the worst use of this skill, but I think 100% matches character. I'm going to use the scene cue, a surprising skill. Over the years, you've met a number of interesting people, and you've picked up on some of their quirks. You're proficient in an unusual craft or skill that never fails to impress or disturb those around you. I'm just going to be ridiculously good at mixology for no apparent reason right now. I'm already back behind the bar, tossing shakers in the air.
Yeah, she sort of watches, and it's just really sort of like a dance with you, as you have the different tonics, the liquor, even chopping some sort of fruit or herb, as you go through shaking it. Very impressive, you might say, almost in tune to the tempo of the song that Carey had just been singing as well.
A friend here's been talking about you all morning long, so we just figured we'd come over here and sing you a song about a man who finds his dead lover on a slab in an infirmary. Just thought to really help you reconnect.
I would say so. Well, I must say that I am excited about these drinks. Why don't you bring them back to the table? You seem to be good at serving people.
Of course. I'll bring over the beverages.
She'll sit down, and she'll sit in the exact center of the booth opposite of Preston. Where do you sit, Riggs?
Oh, on the outer edge of the booth.
Next to Preston?
Yes.
Okay. She'll fold her hands on the table, that sort of pleasant smile still on her face. So what can I help you gentlemen with?
No, Bobby.
Dear Cassandra, dear Cassandra, I understand that we're still upset in our general vicinities, and I would like to patch that up some, because you have dissuaded some of my investments in the past and said that the people and places I spend my money in are not up to snuff, and our last argument about Mr. Riggs and his inventions and how I should not invest in them was very negative, but you have always been an insightful businesswoman, and I respect your insight. And clearly something happened recently that showed that you at least been keeping an eye on our establishment, because I don't keep any of your old lipstick around. Not the trophies I took in the time, but it is at least come to my attention if you're in there looking around. Clearly something has gone right. And I would like to patch things up as best I can. I will actually use my scene cue for a sweet talker at this point in time and try to get her to get back on her good side, which is the one that is, you never go stag anywhere. It's basically the I can always get a date. So it's basically asking her back out on a first date again and trying to patch things up.
That is fantastic.
No, Abba.
One moment. She sort of
No, Abba.
seems to be avoiding looking at Riggs.
No.
Instead of looking clearly just at you, Mr. Cobblepot.
Oh, these drinks need freshened up. Excuse me.
Riggs, where are you actually going?
I'm going to drop the tray at the edge of the thing and then go back to the back office.
Perfect. And where is Carey at?
They're just kind of relaxing at the table. They probably have their feet up, trying their best to seem nonchalant.
Here's random child. Riggs, why don't you roll? What do you think? Would this be bravado, wit,
Oh,
or
I would love for this to
passion?
be bravado. I think this is the bravest thing I've done all day long.
Right? All right. Give me a bravado roll. I need to see 2 successes from you.
Ugh.
No. I'm Bobby. I'm Bobby. I'm Bobby. No, I'm Bobby.
If only I could type. Ugh, I did it backwards. Ugh, if only I could type. Man, I'm so close on so many of those without having any successes.
A 5 and a 6 are successes.
5 and 6, excellent. I did phenomenally then. I got 3 successes.
No, Mommy.
You did amazing. Why don't you describe real quick as you drop that tray off and sneak into the back office?
Yeah, I lean over to the bartender who I thoroughly humiliated with my mixology skills, and just like restroom, and I just like kind of walk back, and we see Riggs pause perfectly as another like large suited security guard like walks past a curtain that he pauses behind and then slips around behind and makes his way back to the back office.
And you actually find the door to be unlocked as you open it, walking into the office.
No,
We're going to cut away from that for a moment and go back to this highly awkward
no.
table discussion between Mr. Cobblepot and Cassandra as Carey watches on, enjoying the drama, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're muted, Steve.
See? Yeah, they're drinking this up. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Right, just one of those, you listen to them over the radio, those romantic sort of dramas. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But momentarily, Cassandra seems swayed by you, Mr. Cobblepot, as she reaches a hand forward and rests it gently on top of your own. I don't know why you keep up with that, Riggs.
He says he's going to change the world, and you were always one to say that we could. He like takes her hand back, very much in the like remembering the good old days, like when they were together in a force of nature type situation. Like, and he always seems to have interesting ideas. He just needs the right direction. Much like I did at one point in time, and you helped me.
Preston, let's be frank for a moment. If you keep following after Riggs, you're not going to go anywhere. This entire fortune that you have is just going to be squandered away. He's going to take everything from you. You know I care, don't you?
I do. How about this? The World's Fair is in 2 days. If he doesn't deliver then, I'll shut down the other club, invest in yours, and come back to be with you.
Carey, how do you respond hearing this, that Preston will shut down the other club, the one that you sing at, the one that, you know, despite the grease stains on the floor and the oil that always seems to be on your hands after holding the mic, that's still your place.
Yeah, so there is like some degree of ooh, but then that gets overridden by, yeah, Preston, darling, are you sure you have to go quite that far?
I mean, I'm not that sure, but I'm sure, given your voice and how much Cassandra likes you, you could headline here.
Right, but it's not my stage, though.
So you'd much rather have the smaller stage?
They kind of look over to the stage that Cassandra has set up, kind of slowly turns back. It is a very nice stage.
One of the
But
best.
there's something to be said of the one that you've made people really dance and enjoy themselves at.
You're right, I don't disagree. But Cassandra's right to a degree. Riggs promised me an investment 7-fold. That was months ago. I haven't seen a lick of profit since.
Well, you know he's working his very hardest.
He always seems to be working his hardest. When was the last time you... Carey, when was the last time you got paid?
Well, there's that hat I pass around.
No, he's supposed to be paying you according to the books.
I will admit that might have been a few promises ago, but he is good to me.
Sure. He can be good to you, but is he good for you?
And we'll have to see that play out.
Well, he's promised a device that changes the world in 2 days. Either he's a man of his word or he's not. And you know what they say, all you have in this world is your balls and your word.
That's what some say, but we will have to see.
We will.
I do believe in Riggs.
I want to believe in Mr. Riggs.
Yeah, we're going to cut away from that. That sort of, that hope, maybe, of wanting to believe in Mr. Riggs, but let's see if Mr. Riggs even believes in himself. Riggs, you've opened that door to the office, looking around the room very briefly. One large oak desk
Bobby,
right there on the
Bobby.
table, right there on that
Bobby,
desk,
please.
is actually your invention.
Bobby.
Just sitting there, tools sort of laying about it. It doesn't look like it's been completely taken apart, but there's definitely some missing pieces that you can see. But it does seem like indeed Cassandra has taken your invention.
I look around and I inspect it to make sure that it's you know, not irreparably damaged. But also I do owe Cassandra money. And so in my heart of hearts, I do know that there is a significant chance that she considers this a return on the investment for the money that I owe her. So I think I'm half looking at my invention while kind of looking over the top of it for like the ledger book that has the like the money, the documentation for the money I owe her in it.
Go ahead and again give me a wits roll.
The best thing for me.
Yeah, right? I need to make everyone else roll. I'm so sorry.
No, it's just rigs all day long. Ah ha ha! I got a success.
I mean, that is all you needed. You are rolling fine today. You open one of the drawers to the desk. You have to sort of wiggle it a little bit to get it to roll past. And right there is a binder. You flip through it, and in very cursive, elegant handwriting, it has Archibald Henrick and the amount that you owe to her. And it's actually detailed out every instance. Almost like an accounting of every instance that she's lent you money or a loan or anything like that. How much money do you owe her?
A 1920s crap load. If she calls in her debts, I would be arrested and thrown in jail amount.
It's true. So you have a conundrum right now. You have the accounting right there. Your invention is on her desk. And as far as you can tell, just a couple screws have been pulled out to sort of look at the inner workings of it. But everything else that you had put together in, you know, those weird kind of hazes that you sometimes get of creative frenzy where you make these things and you don't know how, you think that you could just put the cover back on and it'd be good to go. So you don't know how much time you have left in this office, but what are you going to do?
I am going to take that page out of the book and shove it in the machine and screw it back on and walk out.
Are you walking out with the machine or leaving the machine on the desk?
I'm walking out with the machine.
Perfect. And there's actually like a couple pages that you have to tear out. It's not just the one.
Look, there's no need to dwell on the specifics
I'm
of how
sorry.
much money I
Yeah.
owe.
You just have to make sure that you're like, okay, yep, oh, yep, those are all mine too. And finally, you know, getting to the next H name, you're like, okay, those are all mine. You also have to tear off like half the page of the next one. And as you kind of shove them all into the machine and screw the latches back together, you definitely have to hold it on to keep it from popping off at this point.
Yeah, there's some intricate paper folding that happens, and it's still not in there very well.
Yeah, you could kind of see like there's a slight space instead of it being flush against the rim. But yeah, you walk out. Go ahead and Preston and Carey continue your conversation just as Riggs is walking up with something.
I think Carey's going to like as they see Riggs coming out with a much more familiar piece of machinery. They are going to do their best to get Cassandra's attention, and they're going to use the scene cue, Wax Poetic. So this actually works very well with the Flaw drama queen. Every time you speak, you tend to be overly dramatic and verbose. Depending on with whom you're speaking, they can be either very charmed or completely drained. So basically, they're trying to keep Cassandra's attention on them for as long as possible, so that Riggs might be able to get out the door with his machine, just kind of like putting their hand on Cassandra's. Darling, you must tell me where you got that lovely dress. I absolutely love the color. You know, my uncle, during the war, he passed through a village in Verdun, and just keep going and going and going and going.
Oh my goodness. She like looks over to Preston as though to like, please help me. As she like tries to pull her hand away, but I'm sure like Carey is like holding it firm to like keep her.
Yeah, exactly.
He will let Carey have his moment and pat her on the leg, like supportingly, and be like, "It's okay. Carey's just a queen, basically." Like,
yep.
Well, she like doesn't even know how to respond, and thankfully she looks up right as Riggs pauses at the end of the table. Or are you just gonna walk out, Riggs?
Oh, he's just gonna walk out.
All right. You guys notice Riggs, or actually both of you give me a wit.
Wit, okay. Okay, 2 dots.
Sharp wit, yes.
Okay. Shamon.
I got
Nope.
1.
I got zip.
All right. Yeah, you guys don't seem to notice Riggs just beelining it for the doors. Too entranced in Carey's, whatever Carey's is, you know, descriptions of gowns and everything. And of course, Preston, you're just caught, you know, again, as you usually are, by Cassandra's charm and elegance. You know, perhaps wishing that things hadn't ended quite as they had. But Riggs walks out with the machine. How long are you guys going to sit there with her, do you think, as she continues the conversation with Preston and with Carey? Again, very much trying to get you guys to leave Riggs's club and just join her own.
Carey's going to keep talking until they're like, I'm sure like one of the mooks out front will like eventually like pick them up, and like they'll finish their long winding story that'll probably be a little bit more fitting when she's like 80. And that's how I stole a kiss from Upton Sinclair.
It's funny you speak of the mooks. Go ahead, Paul. You're going to say something.
Preston will sit there and have a very serious conversation with her about their relationship, about where things went wrong. He'll try to be better, because the opposite of love isn't hate, it's apathy. He still very much is very passionate about this person. He just gets very upset about the situation. it seems like they're two people that like get together, and when they're good at the beginning, they're great, and then as it goes down, it blows up every time. It's that type of awful relationship. So they're trying the beginning part again, where it should be great, it'll be fine, we're great when we're together. But he will keep going in that conversation probably a little bit longer after Carey's left, and give serious consideration to what she says and things like that.
Before Carey actually leaves, Cassandra will slide a piece of paper on the table over to Carey. Don't look at this here. Look at it later.
Oh, horse, darling.
Perfect. I'm gonna move away for a moment. I mean, Archibald, you are walking out that front door, but I don't know if you recall, there are 2 mooks right outside that front door that immediately...
One of them's my best friend, Templeton. I'm not worried.
Yeah, Templeton, who's getting paid by the person that stole from you, that you are now stealing back from her. It's all kind of messy. It's a little confusing. But they both kind of...
Who owns this thing that you paid me to make that then I didn't give to you, but then you took from me that now I've taken back? I don't know. What is property?
What is property? Not 9/10 of the law, Anyways, yeah, they hop too. They look at you. Again, utterly confused. She probably needs better guards at this point. Rat kind of wiggles his nose a little bit, looking at you. What you got there, Riggs?
Oh, Templeton, dear friend, you know how Cassandra's always been a fan of my inventions, and she just asked me to tune this one up. She misplaced a few of the screws. I'm just going to pop over, take care of it. She can pick it up later. By the way, if you lose your job for any reason, just remember that your old buddy Riggs is always looking for a way to help you out. You can come over and work for us anytime.
Give me a persuasion roll. So it's bravado persuasion.
Nothing. I'm not persuasive at all.
Oh man, this is your best trait.
My best. It's what I made myself good at.
He tried. You tried to do that dance, but the thing is, he knows you too well. He knows the way you.
If
play
anything
cards.
got stolen.
Yeah. He kind of glances over at the other guy, gives this slight nod, and they both reach out and grab you from on either side, kind of locking you into a grip. Sorry, mate. I think.
What? Hey, hello there. Wait, sir. I don't believe that's appropriate form of contact.
Oh, gotta make sure you're not about to run away. Why don't we go back in and talk to the boss?
Oh, she's very busy right now. There's a little bit of a romantic entanglement happening in there. I'm sure that you wouldn't want to disturb it. It's getting very heated, if you understand what I'm saying.
I mean, I'm gonna have to insist on this one, Riggs.
I mean, it'd be something of a foible or a faux pas to interrupt them. I'm gonna try to just press on etiquette as this is an inappropriate moment to interrupt his boss here, as a form of trying to see if I can use etiquette to persuade them instead.
All right.
Because I'd rather get taken around and beat up in the alley at this point than get dragged back inside. Like that's the far better course of action. You don't want to interrupt them. You should just take me around back and beat me soundly. They'll be satisfied with that.
Maybe. Let's do that etiquette roll.
I'm trying to find my character sheet and remember how I did not probably put much in etiquette.
I do love that you're rolling to catch a whooping rather than to have a conversation.
I actually had more points in wit and sharp. Etiquette is my dump one. I've been under-rolling my wit and sharp rolls.
You have. I was a little confused, but I like to play on
It's
hard
fine.
mode.
We're where we are now.
Okay, I will let you roll 2 for this.
It's a 6.
Never mind. Never mind. I mean, just roll that 6. You know, they've sort of dragged you halfway into the building. Then while you sort of quickly begin to talk about the faux pas, the tension, and they really don't want to get on their boss's bad side. So they look at one another, and you could feel them like halt, thinking. They're trying to decide exactly what to do. One looks at the other. He's like, "What? Maybe you should just go by yourself and talk to her." I'm not going to talk to her. I mean, if she's having a moment, maybe.
I'll tell you what. They're like leaned in with each other. I lean in also. I'm like, I'll tell you what, friends. Just take me around back into the alley and beat the crap out of me. It'll be fine. She'll be totally happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten to beat anyone out recently. Yeah, I mean, it might be good to have a good stretch. Go ahead, Steve.
I'm going to say, at this point, this is when Carey gets dumped out, out the front door. Looks at the 2 guys. Riggs is in trouble. Immediately, you know, they summon their acting chops. Riggs, you naughty, naughty, naughty inventor. Haven't I told you not to take things that aren't yours? And they're going to grab him by the ear and sort of drag them around the alley, sort of putting up the act that they're going to give him a tongue lashing, but they're actually just going to get him in the alley so they can bolt.
Let's see here. I'll let you choose between bravado and creativity / passion.
We're going to go with... Well, actually, it's literally the same in either case. We'll go with bravado and persuasion.
All right, give me that roll.
Okay. That could have gone better.
The total on that is amazing.
The total, yes.
It equals a 6.
Yeah, you know, those rules, man, I gotta follow them. So
I love the idea
out.
that the failing here isn't Carey's, it's Riggs. Like they get around the corner and he's like, "Oh, ow! Why are you beating me up?" Instead, and it's horrible. It's horrible. I ruin the ploy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I love that. Let's go with that. Carey, as always, you were just so on point with your acting. They were eating out of the palm of your hand. So believable, but Riggs just doesn't stack up to the amount of talent you have. And yeah, those small cries of, "Oh no, help, that hurts, ow, wait, hold on, I'm gonna run into this trash can, ow." Yeah, I think they believe us.
I think we're fooling them.
You were indeed not fooling them, as these two thugs come running around the corner after the two of you. We're going to cut away from that scene for a moment. That the trash infused alleyway, to go back to Mr. Cobblepot, who is still sitting across from Cassandra as Carey has been pulled out. Preston, you've heard somewhat of this scuffle that has been going on. I mean, they were able to pull Riggs slightly into the building. Give me a wits roll real quick.
Sure.
Let's see how much you heard.
Oh, wits and sharp is 2.
So 2d6. Let me know if you need me to roll that. All right.
1 success.
1 success.
I feel I overheard Riggs saying they're having a moment, and that totally sparks the conversation of, are we having a moment? Is this a moment? Are we having a moment?
I would greatly enjoy having a moment. I mean, the passion and, I mean, dare say love that I felt for you is not something that I've forgotten, Preston. Again, this comes from a place of love, but I just can't bear to see you with Riggs any longer. Throwing away You're smart, Preston. You're so smart. Can't you see what he's doing to you?
He's trying his hardest, and like I said, he's got 2 days. He said he'd give me back my investment 7-fold at the World's Fair. He's got 2 days. Accompany me there. Come with me to the fair. See it for yourself. See if he pulls it together or he falls flat on his face.
I don't think
I'll
it'd
even
be
let you.
wise for me to go
I'll
anywhere with you.
even bite my tongue and let you say I told you so, very loudly, publicly, as I know you are wont to do.
How about I just say it right now? And she stands.
Mhm.
I told you so, Preston. I told you that this man would ruin you. It seems that you were too blind to even see what is going to happen at this World's Fair. You're going to be an embarrassment. I can't get embroiled in this type of scandal. It would ruin my good name.
Haven't we been ruining each other's good names for the past few months anyway?
She smiles at that. It was fun, wasn't it?
Always has been.
Get out of my club.
All right. He'll stand and kiss her hand and walk out.
As you kiss her hand, she quickly grabs hold of it. Will kiss you fully and deeply on the lips, wanting, to still have that, but, it's just against her better judgment. And then, as she ends the kiss, will just push you away, shaking her head as she turns to walk back towards the stage.
He'll stand there for a moment, blink, and kind of walk out slightly hazy.
Perfect.
Apparently
As you
not pay
walk
attention
out,
to the fact that the thugs are gone.
Yeah, interesting that the thugs are gone because, I mean, you hear shouts coming from the alleyway just off to your left that goes between this warehouse and the next warehouse. And you recognize it as the voice of the thugs. And they're shouting, "There's nowhere for you two to run. Now I suggest you give back that there here thing that I'm..." They don't sound very confident, but what's your plan, Preston?
Do I recognize any of the other voices or just the thugs?
Yeah, let's go over there into this alleyway. Black garbage bags and karate chopping toddlers mark the sides. You know, just a little graffiti. It's an interesting style that you've seen.
It's the
around
karate
here.
toddler gang. Everyone run.
You see that this alley only ends at the pier. It's about probably a 6-foot drop into the water, and you guys are just right at the end as the thugs are closing in on you. One of them has picked up a crowbar from somewhere. Not Rat, the other one. Who Rat is still empty-handed, just kind of cracking his knuckles. Looking at Carey, he can't really look at you, Riggs. He seems to feel a little bit of guilt there, but not too much. You know, you guys have had your ups and downs in your friendship. This might be one of those downs, we might say.
It's not the first time Rat's had to beat me up. It's fine.
It's true. And they're just slowly closing in. That sort of look in their eye that this is not going to end well for the two of you. But you seem trapped, nowhere to go. Now, boys,
I lean
do
close
this
to
the
Carey
easy
and
way.
I say, "I've got this." And then I press the invention into your arms. And then I turn around and I say, "Run!" And I throw myself at the two of them.
Carey?
Not effectively. Like, I'm not a fighter. This is not a polished maneuver. This is literally just me sideways flinging myself at the two of these individuals.
Very much you are. As you run into these individuals, it is like hitting a solid wall. I think it pretty much hurts you more than it hurts them. You could feel your shoulder already kind of bruising. You know, you tried to, as best you could, get some sort of leverage. And there was a satisfying...
I think what I'm trying to trigger here is like, I want to take the damage, but create an opportunity, like take scuffed, which is the next level of injury over healthy.
Yes.
But just to create an opportunity for Carey to be able to run out in a way. Like, I'm totally fine with these guys beating the crap out of me in the alley. That's already where I was headed.
Perfect.
And so I just want the invention and Carey to get out safely.
Well, Carey, can you keep your wits about you? What do you do? Muted, my friend. Still muted.
Oh, Carey is gonna try, and it almost looks like she's back on stage dancing, trying to weave past these guys on the pier, kind of using the invention as a shield, just in case, you know, one of them tries to, like, clock her.
Yeah, real quick, Carey, give me a wits roll.
Okay. Okay, well.
And for this, I am also going to give you something called the lucky coin.
Lucky coin.
Lucky coin.
Lucky coin.
Yeah. Yes, my toddler is helping me. Thanks, chat. So, oh, and I just lost my sheet. I'm sorry. Essentially, the lucky coin is a fun little mechanic in Flabbergasted. That sounds super cute when a toddler says it. Let me bring that back up. I do apologize. That I am rewarding this to you. It is, if you don't succeed a roll, you can use your coin, call heads or tails. If you get it correctly, you will get a success. And if you don't, then nothing happens.
Okay.
So we are going to flip a coin, heads or tails. Let's see here. I do not have a coin. Unless you have a coin. Oh, cool. Because I was going to flip a cookie.
That sounds like more fun, though. So,
That's true.
it is heads.
Up to you. Oh, wait. But, Carey, you need to call it.
Oh.
Okay.
We're going to flip it.
We'll flip again.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a test flip.
We'll go with heads.
Heads.
All right. You got your success, Carey. Thanks to that lucky coin. As Riggs distracts these two gentlemen, sacrificing his body valiantly so that you are able to run past them with the invention and escape. You know, you had that lightheaded moment where you felt just that you were about to faint. But you take a deep breath and you bring it back in. And you're like, no, you needed to do this. This needed to be done for Riggs. As you sort of swallow down that mounting anxiety and rush past these two hoodlums and that are beating Riggs essentially at this point. Riggs, go ahead and take that scuffed up condition as you're sprinting past them. And you see Preston actually standing at the end of the alleyway. But if there's anything further you would like to describe, go ahead. Or Carey, I'm sorry, if you have anything you want to describe, you can.
Just as they're, getting well past the hoodlums, they're gonna shout back, "Next drink's on me, darling!"
Yeah, I don't know if Riggs is able to answer quite at this moment. You hear some grunts. Not sure if they're the grunts of effort as these men are beating Riggs or if they're his kind of grunts of pain. But yeah, let's see here. I think for this moment, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, if you guys are okay with that, just to leave you wanting a little bit more, kind of at the edge of your seat. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. What do you guys need?
5 minutes is great for me.
All right.
That's fine.
Perfect. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break and we will be back in that amount of time. I just want to say thank you, chat, for watching. Make sure you guys get a drink. Hydrate is super important. Get some snacks. It's lunchtime here on the East Coast. And we'll see you guys shortly in 5 minutes. welcome back to Flabbergasted. I hope you guys are hydrated, that you have snacked, and that you are ready to watch the drama unfold as we close out this episode of Flabbergasted tonight. Just a reminder, we have these three wonderful individuals. I don't think I need to remind you of that. They are definitely our star-studded cast for this evening. But we're going to cut a little bit ahead. Last we saw, Riggs was being beaten in an alleyway. The smell of the river, putrid as it is, filled with trash and other sort of runoff from the city, wafting up, filling his nose with those creative smells as he had pushed his invention of whatever that invention is and whatever it does to Carey, who valiantly ran to the end of the alleyway and into Preston as they both just sort of left Riggs to his fate and returned to the club on the other side of the bridge from the Rouge. I would say Riggs came back about an hour later, slight limp in his step, definitely a black eye, and any sort of other, no broken bones. They held back a little bit. You knew Rat was holding back as, he was giving this impromptu alleyway justice. But, they felt like they did a good enough job as and you were very good at just laying there and pretending that, you were out. So it helped.
Right.
But yeah, we are 2 days later on that morning of the World's Fair. And I just kind of want to zoom in real quick on each of you as you wake up, wherever you may be waking up, on what your feelings are on this day. And we are going to first start with Carey.
So, Carey has moved their fainting couch over by where Riggs is slowly recovering, just to make sure, he doesn't slip softly into that good night, even though he's fine. But again, drama queen, had to be dramatic about the whole thing, including the recovery process. So
you were scarred.
Yeah, exactly. So, they kind of start awake, kind of gently shakes Rick's shoulder, kind of nervous. Rick's darling, are you doing okay?
Yes. Yeah, of course. I'm fine. It was, nothing as like the the bandage on top of my eyebrow starts having blood down the side of it a little bit. I'm like, it's fine. It's just a little bit of human oil is what we call it in the biz.
Oh dear, you can call it whatever you want. That's still blood. Here, and they'll kind of do their best to patch it up, keep it from leaking all over his nice shirt.
Yeah, that human oil, as it is meant to stay inside the body. It usually indicates that something is wrong if it is leaking, as an engineer would say, I think. But yes, Riggs, did you sleep a wink at all last night, or indeed these past 2 days?
I've been, I think if we do the quick flashback or montage scene of what Riggs has been up to, there's a lot of doodling, there's a lot of drinking coffee, there's a lot of intensive staring at the invention. We see Riggs practicing the flourish of whipping the cover of the invention off repeatedly, getting better and better at it as they're just practicing their presentation for the World's Fair.
Interesting. I'd like to point out real quick, just to the audience as an aside, he's practicing the presentation of the invention, not figuring out what the invention does itself. Just a note right there. Just a note. All right, and Preston, where have you been?
Preston has been around, but Preston this morning is leaving the patent office, having used his investors' money and ability to talk people into making sure he patented this invention that Riggs has promised him will change the world and get back his investment sevenfold. To Preston, it is make or break time with Riggs and their agreement and their arrangement. It's been fun, but he's very conflicted about the future.
Man, I'm nervous too. What does the invention do, and does it work? Real quick, Carey, as you were getting ready this morning, donning what you think would be the best outfit for a World's Fair attendance, you reach into your pocket and you find that note that Cassandra had given to you and told you to save for later. As you unfold it, has that again, it's made on a stationery that has that TR sort of signature with a piece of lipstick, and you'll notice that it's actually a telegram that had been addressed to Cassandra the night of the party that you guys can't seem to quite remember. Your eyes just sort of flicker over it for a moment, and you see that it is from a Mr. Preston Cobblepot. I don't know if Preston remembers exactly what this telegraph was for. And some parts of it don't exactly make sense. But there's one word that sticks out to you, and you might need your fainting couch for this. And the word is murder. You look at the rest of it. Preston, what is this telegraph that you sent in your drunken state to Cassandra? I believe you might be muted.
It's a mix of rambling admissions of care and anger and all of the things you write when you're drunk. It is the 1920s equivalency of an angry drunk dial. It is it is a telegraph that goes on about how much he misses her and that how angry she makes him, and like if he could, call Murder Inc. he would, and if he, just all the things you don't ever want to say to your ex, but there's clearly that undertone of I still care about this person, but I'm so angry at this person at the same time. It is the drunk text that you never want to get from your ex.
Yeah, but part of you wonders if he's serious about this Murder Inc. thing, and if that has any effect on Riggs, or who it's meant to be for, or if it's just a random drunk telegram. It's interesting.
Yeah, they read it. They go on the fainting couch. Read it. Hold it up. Put it in the shirt.
Yeah, because Preston's not here this morning. But we're going to fast forward a bit. Or actually, Riggs, where have you been keeping the invention? Have you been worried at all that it might get taken again?
Generally, yes. I have been, I've been sleeping. I've been not drinking as much and been like sleeping with it underneath a cot in the like I've got a hammock strung above the workspace with it, my hand like resting on it at night.
Perfect. So
Whenever the train goes by, it rumbles my hammock back and forth, and my hand drags the cover off it, so I even get a little sleep practice at that. It's been really helpful.
Preston, were you planning on meeting them at the World's Fair?
Correct. Plan on meeting them at the World's Fair before we go on stage to present.
Perfect. Well, let us go ahead. And the three of you have finally met together at the World's Fair. But Riggs, how do you get the invention there?
We have a gas-resistant motorized stroller that I created a while back. That the nice thing is it protects you against any sort of gas that people might drop in a war on your child. The problem is it's gasoline powered, and the fumes did leak inside. So it was kind of a gas if you did, gas if you didn't type situation. It didn't work out. Wasn't marketable. And so we put it in that because it's also mildly armored, and use that to push it to the World's Fair.
Perfect. Yeah, so this strange looking contraption rolls up to the World's Fair with Carey and Riggs in tow with it, Mr. Cobblepot. Behind you, just sort of that quiet rumble of a crowd just waiting inside this huge exhibition hall that has, taken years to build for this exact purpose of this World's Fair. Outside, you see all sorts of people handing out flyers, doing different sorts of juggling acts. There's peacocks wandering around, just adding to this atmosphere of anything being possible, this sort of fantasy-esque dreamland type thing, as you see different forms of architecture that don't seem, at least from an engineering standpoint, feasible to be standing the way that they are, but somehow they are. And it seems to be the place where an invention that can change the world will be. Preston, you sort of look around hoping to see Cassandra, but she doesn't seem to be there to meet with you. But as you guys sort of file in, find your booth and wait for your turn to present, what sort of last minute things are you guys doing to prepare or talk about as, those butterflies just form in your stomach, the anticipation?
Carey continues to fuss over Riggs doing their best to clean him up, make sure, there aren't any visible blood stains on his nice shirt, make sure there's no human oil leaking out at inopportune times, and, just general, make sure his hair's combed, making sure there's no, dirt on his coat.
Perfect.
Preston is making sure that the flyers and everything is ready for the big reveal, so when this happens, they will be able to capitalize on it immediately. He gets ready to be like, all right, this is going to work, this is going to be great. I have invested money and a relationship into this thing. It'll be perfect. He's pumping himself up.
No pressure. What about you, Riggs? What's going through your head right now?
Everybody, they're all very concerned. Riggs is the opposite. He's in his element. He's shaking hands with people. You see him practicing the moves for flipping the cover off this thing. pointing at certain things, like he's doing, but he's like, he's like smiling, laughing at people. We see him like lean over and whisper something in someone's ear, and like then like lean back and laugh really heavily. It's just having a good time at the World's Fair.
Right? The World's Fair. And again, you kind of glance around at all the booths and whatnot, and see all these other amazing, wonderful inventions. Not as great as yours, of course. But some of them look pretty cool, pretty suave, pretty. I don't know how you would describe it.
I think if there's any contenders here, it's got to be the self-heating electric jacket and the hangover helmet, which is a series of ice cubes that hang off your face. I think both of those things are tremendous innovations in the field.
And they've definitely drawn a crowd of people that are wanting to see how they work. And you see that a small crowd has gathered around your booth as well. Preston and Carey, you guys kind of hear those whispers because Henrick, you've just gone pretty much minimum. You have this small table, circular table, and a red cloth draped over the invention that is sort of lined with gold. You know, this very elaborate cloth. There's no poster boards. There's no information. There's no name except for this. And that in itself, the mystery of this invention seems to be what is drawing the crowd. And there's
I lean over to Preston and I go, red is a real power move in these situations, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't know what you mean.
Don't worry about it. I got this. It's all the science.
Okay.
But yeah, there's just sort of this buzz of anticipation and excitement in the air as 3 judges with clipboards finally approach. They say, "Are you ready to bring your invention presentation up to the main stage, Mr. Henrick?"
Absolutely. I can't wait. Everybody follow us to the main stage if you're ready to see how this amazing project will change the world. And make our way to the main stage. Raucous applause, apparently, chat says. So that's great to know. So we get to the main stage. Have it set. Has Cassandra showed up at all?
It's funny that you mentioned that. As you sort of ascend the steps to that main stage, there's that little bit of a waiting area off stage where the curtains cover that small portion. And she's standing there, her arms folded, looking at you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, one and all, judges. I'm so excited to reveal everything to you, but first, let me ask you a question. Has there ever been something you've wanted to forget or you've wanted forgotten? I know we all can think about those moments, those telegraphs sent in a drunken state, the loans we've made somebody that didn't pan out quite right, the song choice that we made that just didn't sway the audience how we went. We all have those moments we wish we could go back and change, or at least forget about. And so I present to you the forgettable invention, and I like whip off the red thing, and it's a helmet with all these like different totally weird like pieces and electrodes sticking out of it. And I was like, this invention that I made the other day, and you know what the funniest thing is? I couldn't even remember what it was for the last week. because I used it after I made it. I've been sitting here racking my brain trying to go through my notes and remember what it was, and then all of a sudden it struck me. If I can't remember, this is the only thing I could have invented that would have caused me to forget. But here, you know what? Let's go ahead and call up a volunteer. Somebody who I know, but I also know would never do anything to lie. I think I'd love to have Cassandra come up and join us on stage.
There's this round of applause as for a moment nobody walks to the center of stage, but you know the crowd starts shouting Cassandra, so that she'll go, and she walks out sheepishly onto stage. I'll give Preston and Carey a moment to react as you know she stands in the center and Archibald is carefully doing every single belt and fastening this forgetful machine.
Well, Preston,
I would say. Oh, go ahead.
Preston will give her a knowing smile and be basically very supportive, looking from off stage and be like, "It'll be okay. Mouse will be okay at her, and you know, it'll be fine."
And Carey is playing the consummate game show assistant, if that makes any sense. Pretty one who, you know, does this as they're not so subtly making sure Cassandra is going in the right direction.
Yeah, you do have to push her a little bit initially as well, you know, with that sort of bringing her out, but forcing her to go out, even though you're making it look like she's doing it willingly.
I don't.
Okay.
Let's give her a round of applause, everybody. We've got a couple of big and small ways we're going to test this element. I think the first way we're going to do it, and I hope you're all excited about it, is we're going to have Carey here sing a little number, and then afterwards, I'm going to erase that from Cassandra's brain.
Okay.
Mama,
Carey, ever the dutiful assistant, goes to the nearest microphone, and you just hear them go. The girl from Ipanema goes walking, and then she said, and then she says.
yes.
Go through that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And I say, all right, Cassandra, what song did Carey just sing?
The lights on the machine, you know, all those different tube lightings erupt to life. That hum of electricity as this machine begins to work with what you think is a forgetful machine, what you hope is a forgetful machine. And there's this sort of pop sound and smoke coming out of one side of this machine as it continues to shake and whir. Cassandra looking
Exactly
terrified.
what it's supposed to do, ladies and gentlemen. No need to be alarmed.
Yeah, it's like half the crowd is clapping and cheering. The other crowd, half of the crowd is looking extremely nervous, and there's like gasps and like mouth covering as they're just like nervous. And then with one final pop and this huge plume of black smoke that emits from the machine, the invention, the forgetting machine, the lights turn off and the machine goes silent. And she just looks at Henrick and at Carey and then finally over at Cobblepot and just, what?
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Give her a round Round of applause!
She quickly takes the thing off and puts it back on the table, waves to the crowd, and then walks off stage. We're gonna fast forward a little bit. So many people, you've gotten so many investments opportunities into this invention of people wanting you to make more of these, essentially. Forgetting the horrible things you've done, it's definitely something that people in this type of society really want to capitalize upon, because like you said, everyone makes those drunken telegraphs, and well, not drunken because prohibition, right? But sorry, Preston, Carey catches you, or Cassandra catches you just as you're about to leave. Sorry, one moment. She catches you as you're about to leave and smiles. Was it a return on investment, dear?
Well, no, it looks like it will be soon enough.
Don't.
Now that it's
Hopefully
not a
the next
complete
time-
disaster, will you go out with that drink?
She shakes her head, sort of flattens her hair.
I don't.
That machine was a complete and utter farce. The only thing it gave me was a headache.
Oh,
And she walks off.
then you told me so.
I told you so. She calls over her shoulder.
No, Mama.
But
No,
I do
Mama.
believe I've saved you,
No.
since you do have all these new investments
No,
now.
don't want to.
You have, which means I owe
So
you.
maybe that means
and
you
I'll-
can get out.
I will. If you'll let me back in your club, I'll swing by later this night.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Guess we'll see how
I got.
Archibald swindles his way out of all these other investors, but at least they won't be you.
I got.
I appreciate that, dear.
Okay.
And with that, we're gonna end the session.
No, won't.
Sorry guys, this has been Flabbergasted. Real quick, I would like to do sort of our closing remarks with the crowd of this episode. We're going to go over to the cast and see how they felt about how things went, how their character is, and what is going to happen next with them. And we'll start over there with Carey. What's next for our dear Carey Lindh? Where does she
Oh,
go from
boy.
here?
Well, I would say they are going to keep going with their showbiz career. I will say that telegraph, just in case, Preston starts to get cold feet, that makes for some excellent blackmail material. And to the effect of she might, just casually say, well, the mind may forget, darling, but pen and paper, well, that lasts quite a bit longer.
Perfect.
And aside from that, fantastic game. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I think we got a really good look at just how flexible those scene cues can be, which is something I was kind of worried about with even the Avatar game I was in recently. Of well, these are cool abilities, but are we going to get to use them? I think we ran through almost all of them.
this is our real life show too. We'll go ahead and go over to Preston that way about your thoughts. And what's next for Preston Cobblepot? Does he give into the blackmail from Carey Lindh? Does he go back to the Rouge?
Well, for Preston, it is going back to the Rouge, investing in Carey's music career because it seems much more reliable than Riggs's inventions. So he will invest his money in something that's much more sound. As other things, hi, I'm Paul. I got here last minute, like probably 20 minutes before this game started, so I have not looked over the system in its entirety, but it was fun. It was a good time. I hope nobody minds me, streaming from the airport, doing my best. But Preston is on a very interesting journey now, I feel. Trying to reunite. But yeah, no, everything was really fun. It was good to play with some people I've not played before, and yeah.
Perfect. And I guess that just kind of speaks to the system is how quickly you're able to pick it up, because I literally asked Paul to play like 20 minutes before it happened, and he was able to get the system. So definitely props to Wandering Tome for creating something that is able to be picked up and played within 20 minutes. Seriously. And last but not least, our dear Mr. Archibald Riggs Henrick. What is going to happen in the future?
The major
for him?
villain of the Flabbergasted universe,
Yeah.
willing to erase people's minds to get what he wants. This is my second time playing Flabbergasted. We played over on stream a little while ago, over on our Plus One channel, and I love it. It's actually, if anybody's familiar with Blades in the Dark, mechanically, there's a lot of overlap and similarity, which I love, but I love the scene cues as auto successes. I think it gives players a lot of control. It lets the table be a lot more collaborative, because it's not, oh, that's a good idea, roll and see if you want to do it. It's the ability to interject and say, my character is good at this thing, just like Carey, or just like Steve was saying. It gives a lot of really great flexibility for what it can happen, and the being able to choose them lets you clarify that. And so I love that mix of auto successes, and then if you want to push on something, being able to do rolls. I love how flexible the stats are also too, as far as it's a lot more about your approach to something than it is like, oh, you're trying to do this, that's obviously a X thing, so I love that. I love that it's a game that you can play and make really intentional choices without necessarily having to roll dice a whole lot, because I mean, I know I did. Preston, Paul, did you roll dice at all? Like once?
I rolled twice in the entire game and used one scene cue. I was the most narrative heavy player we had, which is very interesting for me.
Yeah. And I love that I still don't know what that invention does, just what I thought it did, because I was like, what does it do? By the way, a bunch of the weird inventions that I dropped in there, 100% real inventions from the 1920s. I pulled up a list of and were actual things around this time frame. There's talking to Floor and the one of the two sisters who designed the game. I really love a lot of the challenge points in it. I love this time frame. There are a lot of interesting things in the world that they make choices around that I'm really excited to see how people explore the table. But from a narrative standpoint, if I was going to introduce somebody to this for RPGs, this is a really easy one to start with as far as the mechanics of it. I think dice pool systems with automatic successes let you introduce players to a lot of really great narrative concepts without having to be very mechanically focused. And so I think it's a really great one to pick up. And yeah, I had an absolute blast playing it.
I'm so glad. Yeah, definitely. I'm always worried when I'm learning a new system to run that I'm going to get all the rules right and whatnot, but it was a breath of fresh air to be like, okay, this is a simple system that works really well for this world, and it definitely gives into that collaborative storytelling. If you want to learn more about Flabbergasted, we will be having an interview with the creators next Tuesday at 2 p.m. EST, which we are super excited about. But in the meantime, make sure you check out and get press that get notified button on their Kickstarter. Let's make sure that we can get this into the Kickstarter's, what is it called? Thing that they love, project they love, because this is definitely a project that I love. I'm going to link it real quick in chat. Flabbergasted. Oh, no, not murder. Hold on. Murder. What's going on with that? To be continued. Here we go. There is a link in chat to the Kickstarter. And again, I have been ScribblingPenny. I am the director. You can catch me all over Weave the Tale as the community manager. Shenanigans. Make sure you tune in tonight for a one-shot of Delta Green ran by Praying the Plague, which I will be a player in as well, because I cannot get enough of RPGs. So thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for dealing with me being a parent and the real life that happens on this channel. Does anybody have any last alibis or excuses? Or maybe not excuses. Yeah.
Cries of anguish, beauty tips, anything?
Cries of English. Yeah. No. Perfect. As always. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.